Hey everybody, I'm Mike McMahon, and you are watching Trekyards.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Connor Collins, and I can just assure you all, neither of us infected are going to take over the world, the universe, in a negative, maybe positive way, but not in a negative way. We are fine with just us, ready for today's episode.
But Samuel, why do they all love us out there?
Wow.
All these people that are watching us, they love us because maybe we're giving off some kind of pheromone. We were infected before we started talking to them, and now they just love us.
I mean, yes, but also hard no, because we're in our offices talking to them via the internet.
Anyway, yeah, we're here to talk about episode 5 of Lower Decks, Cupid's Errant Arrow, today. And as I speculated in our speculation video, this is my favorite of the 5 so far. This was a really great episode. Felt very TNG-esque. The whole plot of the moon, the whole plot of the diplomacy around the aliens and their little petty problems, and dealing with that, and the solutions that were come up with were great. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. There was some good stuff in this episode, and we got to see a new ship, but not really.
And an old ship, and an old station.
Oh yes, yes indeed. Those are really good. And it's funny because you got your wish. We saw the bridge of the Vancouver.
Yes, we did.
Anyway, yeah, no. So this one is one I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. So let's get into it. What did you think of it?
I'm still absorbing, digesting if it's my favorite or not. But I think it's the best episode. I think from a purely creation balanced perspective, because okay, so it's a half an hour show, or less. It's a 25-minute show with titles and credits next time on, and yet they pack so much in with multiple storylines, all of which in this episode have good follow-throughs, good builds. It doesn't feel too packed like the first episode, but it's absolutely jam-packed with stuff. It's filled with references that are good but organic. Having the cheat sheet, the board makes sense. It's contextual. They subvert expectations cleverly with the storylines, with the girl and such, cleverly, which was good. So it wasn't just simple and it didn't make anyone look bad. The captain, for the first time, was competent, which was refreshing and made it better. It was the aliens that were silly, as we often see in TNG. Aliens are silly, our guys are good. That's the dynamic. And Mariner was not the end-all be-all, and that was nice too. And she wasn't being mean to anybody. So all the elements felt way more balanced, and it brought the entire episode up, in my opinion. So just far more balanced piece.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, especially the captain part, her being more competent. It seems like she was the lead captain on this, because she was the one that gave the final order, even though a lot of the episode happened on the Vancouver, and I didn't think it did. I mean, and I watched it a few times. Even the MSD that Mariner runs up to, I'm like, pretty sure that was the Cerritos. And no, apparently it wasn't. So I guess I wasn't paying attention. They didn't explain it well enough. I know they shuttled over, but then when Barb is like, I can't have dinner with you on the Cerritos tonight because I'm busy, it just didn't click for me that they didn't leave the Vancouver the whole time. And the captain from the Cerritos was actually on the Vancouver when she gave that final order. Because it was during the live first reaction last night that somebody pointed that out to me, and I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, I got screenshots of the
I guess she never left, yeah.
Of the MSD that Mariner talks to, and also when she gives the order, it's the Vancouver that fires, not the Cerritos. But I just assumed that they could have transferred.
Yeah, I assume that moment was because that ship had the weapon that was being used to do the thing. Cerritos was there as a support ship, didn't have the technology to actually utilize the mission. So she gave the order, but the ship that could do the order did it. Yeah, well they caveated that with a joke right at the start, where the two engineers like, oh my god, and Mariner's like, it's the same. And they're like, oh my god, are you serious? And that's obviously saying, yeah, we're gonna use the same art assets and change maybe some of the colors. And so yeah, it's basically the same. It is the same. I wasn't you're right. I didn't even consider that she was on the Vancouver at the end, but I did know that they spent almost all their time but it didn't help that they beamed back over to their own bunks and then back. Like they did, they transitioned a couple of times, but yeah, most of it's on the Vancouver. But I mean that is the TNG trope. I like that as the canon man I am, but they could have done more with painting. They could have added a few more groups, especially if the first real scene, they walk on the bridge and the captain's like, "Don't you want to serve on this beautiful ship?" And they're like, and I'm thinking it's the same. So no, like they pride up this amazing ship, but you that doesn't work if everything looks the same. Like, the outside is the same but sleeker. Should have been the same but sleeker, and it wasn't, and I was confused by that.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about that in our Vancouver class episode, but yeah, it seems like the Vancouver is just a newer version of the California class design.
Yeah.
Same general function and purpose.
But I think the characters were better this week. The fact that we got a Tendi and Rutherford storyline was good, although again, they are more the butt of a joke rather than fully done characters.
Yeah, they didn't get the time that I thought they were going to get. That being said, they had a fun little adventure, and I love the last line of the episode, and that's why we're friends, because we both. So that's nice, but I assumed when this one started that their storyline might be a little more important, that they might discover something about the ship or whatever. But yeah, I mean, they were kind of the butt of a joke, and it's actually hilarious. The Lieutenant Commander guy with the whole, "This isn't me. I don't want to phase. Don't make me phase you. Oh my God, you made me phase you." It's like, wow, buddy. He didn't want the epic adventures that they did on the Vancouver. He wanted to be just like, low-end ship.
And we just talked about rank and promotion, and so that felt a very applicable topic. Like, yeah, that's too much work for him. So that I thought was a fun exploitation reverse. Although again, if the Vancouver is a special amazing ship, why does it look most like the Cerritos, and most ships are better than Cerritos? Like, if it was that legendary, it should have been a Galaxy class or a Sovereign or an Intrepid. It shouldn't have been a better Cerritos. And now considering we've now seen they can use DS9 and Olympic, so they can show canon ships without any qualm. So it's weird that, again, the slight disparity of what they were trying to say and what they're actually saying should tone down it's the best ship ever, because that makes the Enterprise look less good, even though that was the best ship ever on purpose, like, is the flagship. Like, I don't buy for a second the Vancouver is anywhere near flagship, or like anywhere near the top 50% of ships.
No, I don't think it is, but just they stumble into some adventures that were more epic. I never got the impression that they were saying that, but and the funniest thing about it for me was the whole Enterprise line. The Enterprise line with about Data and his brother Lore, and then teaming up with the Borg, and it seemed a little out of time frame for me, unless they're referring to something back further. Anyway,
I mean, it's like 5 years old news.
Yeah. But the whole, those guys seem to get in a new adventure every week was hilarious. Save some of the exploration and stuff to us. Yeah, it's for other people. Yeah, that was really good.
And I'm wondering if that's a hint, because I really would not. I don't think Mike Cookman, I'm sure it's be a whole video, I'm not sure Mike Cookman would want to try and be with us to retcon the first contact uniforms to be even earlier, because that seems like why, given that's literally, if he's now saying that was news, then those uniforms came in like right after the DS9 started and was taken. So therefore the Olympic, which was meant to be a ultra new, is now a really old ship. Docks at DS9 in its first or second year when they're still wearing TNG uniforms and transitioning to the top normal blue, a normal thing, while TNG is still using their version. Like, so I don't buy that for a second. So I'm assuming it's more of a joke of news, like it was sort of slightly classified. Like, news doesn't travel necessarily to most ships. It's kind of like, did you hear? And no one's going to say, did you hear last week? Maybe it's like one of those like Chinese whispers of that news was spreading. Like, so, like on Facebook nowadays, you have a post from 4 years ago resurfacing, and if you haven't heard it, then obviously, but that felt weird. I wish Maren had said that was 5 years ago. So that was weird, because it's a canon-y, mistakey thing, but I'm sure it's intentional.
No, the whole thing with Boimler's girlfriend Barb was, I think, very well done. I love that. I the whole Mariner trying to get samples or trying to get readings or trying to knock out a positronic net, if that's what she's an android. was really well played, and the fact that Mariner was getting to the point where it's like she's gonna infect you with her barbed tail. Her name is Barb, and just coming out with anything, and technically kind of right, but definitely not right, was awesome.
She sensed a problem, but wasn't going the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very well played, and yes, she was kind of thinks she knew it all, and it was a nice subversion of expectation because yes, she was right. No, she wasn't right. So she's not perfect, which I think they played very well. So that was a fantastic idea.
And it was 100% selfless. I'm trying to help my friend.
Yeah,
which has not always been the case. I think this character does fluctuate heavily, and this was great for her. And that's why I think the flashback, which was just a beautiful, I could watch that over and over again. That was super important and more than I ever thought they were going to give us in terms of her motivation was literally, I had a friend and another friend that I served with, and they got brutally murdered in front of me. Like that sets the stage so well for that sort of personal, I'm going to do everything in my power. You know, in terms of motivation, that is hella strong. So I thought that was ballsy by them. But as soon as you've shown that, you buy everything she's going to do because she's going to go to every length.
Well, there was a debate last night on my first reaction live whether she actually has feelings for Boimler, because at one point she says he's a dork, but he's my dork, and things like that, or if it's more of a brotherly, sisterly kind of protection. I think it might turn into something eventually. But I kind of went into this episode and said in the prediction video that it could be that she has feelings for him and doesn't realize it until somebody else is in the picture and we kind of get the jealousy streak. That wasn't really the case, but I could see an argument being made for each. But yeah, I think it's more of just like a big sister kind of protection thing at this point. So
no, I would agree. I mean, you know, that's always a problem with male female relationships where it can sort of delve into one or the other. I wouldn't say either are attracted to each other, but you can still get feelings from interaction and experience and such. So they're not attracted to each other. Doesn't mean they won't become relationshipy just in time. But I 5 episodes in, we're only 5, and I buy now they're real friends, which was, you know, sometimes, especially for episode 1. But again, that was them just sort of new-ish friends. This one I really bought it, which I really appreciated. So yeah, I don't think it was necessarily that, but yeah. My good friend, my dork, I'm his mentor. Remember that was episode 1. You know, he's my guy, which I liked. Although brings up another question. I think we still both maintain that they red herring us with Mariner saying she's the same age as Boimler, even though she served on a ship as an ensign a good 6 years ago. If it you know, or what, you know, at least I guess at least 1 year if Nemesis whatever. But she's been in Starfleet more than Boimler hasn't. She's the same age. She isn't. So
she's definitely about 10 years older than him, would be my guess.
Yeah, I would have said 5 to 7, but yeah, absolutely. I mean,
one of the great things for me about this episode, though, that I really enjoyed was the diplomatic aspect of it, where we're gonna get sand from the moon for you to worship. You're gonna relocate to whatever moon number 6 because now it'll technically be moon number 5 anyway. And that was great because that's exactly what TNG does. That's the diplomatic. I could see Picard saying the same thing, only nicer, and even to the point where there are 2 people on your planet. Implode the moon. The same thing would have been said in TNG.
The carpet, they just remodeled.
The flooring. Oh my god, we just redid the floors. Yeah. The same thing would have been done in TNG, but it would have been a little bit of a speech there first from Picard of, you know, the greed and the evilness of greedy people, and then yeah, we're gonna go ahead with it. You know, it would have been the exact same outcome, the exact same story idea, but done differently and more wordy, without the beeping. No, that was a great revelation. We'll both be displaced. Wait a minute, how many people are in me and my wife? There are 2 people on your effing planet. That's great. We're rich. You know.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree, and I was impressed how competent she was. It's the very first time I've seen it. Obviously, they didn't give her much characterization. They just had her be a good officer. You can see that's where the problem of being a good officer versus how you use that is the balance. But it was nice to see finally. But yeah, the way they walk in, and you can tell the other captain, who is the other ship captain, this is not beneath her, but she's busy with like other things, and she's like, "You try, like you do this. You know, you're a fresh captain, you can do it." And then she walks in, and they all give a reason why they can't do it, and they vary from being real to stupid to absurd, and it's a very good. That social commentary of today. One is like, "Oh, I don't believe the moon's even going to do it." Like, very good commentary that comes and goes, but that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And then yeah, easy solutions. Loved it. It was both hard and easy. I love the guy being a tantrumy, and such a simple way of doing it. You're right. It's TNG, but it's that step to the right that Orville could do, that this show can do. It takes on a different perspective, and then the payoff of "we're just rich people" was beautiful. It was so simple. I would never have thought of it, and it was elegant, and it was simple, and it was nice then because it changed the stakes, whereby they had their full plan to take out the asteroid, and it was flawless, but they're trying to save lives, so they're not doing it. And so by the time they're now, okay, it's only 2 people, now they can destroy it no problem. Boom, it was an easy win because they were holding back because they are Starfleet. And the guy even says, "You're Starfleet, you're meant to be the good guys." No, it was good. It was TNG, but a bit different, and that's kind of what I liked. And it was
He first mentions that'll affect the people on my planet. This is an impossible situation. Yes, it is. But Starfleet, you know, that's our focus. We worry about impossible. We'll find a solution. Let me think. And that's exactly the layout for a TNG episode. This big, storyline, problem that comes up, and sometimes it's a simple solution. So
well, and speaking of, we noted that this would be the EVA episode, but I was surprised there's 2 EVA episodes, which is kind of good they were separated. But really, those pod things really were non-entities. We were kind of expecting them to be a focus. I didn't even necessarily get what they were doing at all,
or where they came from. They weren't there in the establishing shot. Then
well,
the Vancouver showed
Shuttle
up.
Bay.
And then,
I mean, Vancouver's much bigger. I just assumed the Shuttle Bay. They didn't have that many.
I know, but still, they were pretty big. And as we saw the Shuttle Bay, and the fact that she said they're basically the same ship.
That was the small Shuttle Bay, Stuart. It's a much bigger ship. I didn't have a problem with that. But I
didn't either. But it wasn't clarify where they came from.
That's interesting. But I mean, I know you're excited to see them, and we really got. I mean, what did they do? What were they trying to do? I didn't understand what they were trying to do.
No, I didn't either. On a positive note, Shax's rank didn't change.
Yes, he's only in one scene though.
Well, I know, but it was a front shot, then a back shot, then a front shot. I was hoping it would change.
Yep.
From the just to that shot, but
it's well done, guys.
Yeah, the parasite was interesting too. I mean, it got infected a month ago, so he's probably been through a few transporters and stuff, and it was in his hair. Now, this was brought up again on my first reaction review last night. Somebody said, wouldn't he notice it? Because he restyled his hair earlier in this episode to be Joe Cool, whatever. And then it's like in his hair. Now, my suggestion was it was probably deeper down, like burrowed near his skull more. But because he was unconscious, it kind of came to the surface a little bit more. Because when they flipped him over, it was just basically right there.
It was the anti-gore approach.
Yeah. I just assumed because he was unconscious, it was kind of like starved for oxygen or something and needed to come up to this.
Well, okay, so there's the slight debate, and I'll go one way. Do you think it was actually in control of him, or just guiding certain things he was doing?
It was guiding what he was doing to get what it wanted. Because the whole time when they took it off, it kept saying lover, 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 lover. It was me the whole time. I want to take her for dinner. Lover, 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 lover. It used his pheromone glands to get the girl, and then controlled his actions probably.
But he wasn't actually literally under its control for a month. Like, we didn't see. There wasn't Boimler parasite. It was parasite doing obviously a very intelligent parasite doing a slow influence rather than control. So I would imagine that so it's in his hair, it's whatever, it's hanging out, and it would, if it's doing pheromones, if it's if he can't feel it and he's sonic showering every day sort of thing, that it's just stopping him from noticing it. Like he's got enough control of his brain, especially at that point, to act without him acting. But I thought that was interesting. Like I didn't want the episode to be, oh, he was under control the entire time. So I liked it was kind of just, it was more of a gentle parasite. Although then, what was the egg that Mariner found?
It was a husk. It wasn't an egg, but yeah. I don't know. Maybe it it was it had to like go through a chrysalis stage, so it actually became larger, and it dropped off at that point. So it would have been more noticeable. I don't know. That would be my guess.
Maybe it knew it was finally gonna mate soon, so it kind of like went to its next stage.
Yeah, I thought it was well handled though. The fact that Mariner wasn't right, but she was at the same time. Just a little bit of that twist.
It felt balanced. She wasn't the end all be all, and she was also at her wit's end. She was often wrong. Although that said, this made me laugh that a couple of times now they've mentioned androids, and if she thinks that this woman is an android flawlessly, then she thinks that human androids exist, and yet in Picard season 1, it's a 1,000 years till we can do them, even though we had the Sung Type 2 androids with the mum. So I think Mike McMahon is ignoring Picard canon because it's silly about the androids and just using the TNG canon where you can get androids that look like humans. They've been done. It doesn't take 1,000 years. You know what I mean? Like Mariner should know better. If you take Picard, the androids can't look like human, but they can though. Although that said, there was a bit of an odd moment at the end where the lady's like, just scan me then, and she scans her. I'm thinking, if you're doing all these things, why don't you scan her earlier? Like, I thought there'd be some other step. But it's like, I mean, you couldn't sneakily scan her.
It'd be a lot easier than cutting her hair off to get a sample.
Yeah, it would take the same amount of time. And I'm pretty sure scan range is more than 1 centimeter. So I thought that was weird. It's like, it's all it took. Because she would have done that the entire time. And come on, she could have used, the internal sensors at any point. So a little bit weird. But, hey ho. Hey ho.
Anyway, so this was a great episode. I think we talked about most of what we needed to talk about here. We will be doing a live breakdown video tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which, if you're watching this after the fact, go back and maybe check it out as a supplement, because we break it down scene by scene and really get into the weeds with it and really talk about every detail. So if you can, go check that out as well.
We do find that scene by scene breakdowns are important, because you do see small things. And we're talking generalities, fun plot contrivances and things, but I mean, there are little details everywhere, and Lower Decks especially. So much to talk about, and do join in those guys. It's fun, it really is.
That's right. So we'll hope to see you then. Until then, hit like, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those, and click the notification bell icon to all, because even though you're subscribed, YouTube's not going to tell you about our new videos unless you click the all button, and even then, it's questionable. But at least you got more of a chance.
But what you're saying is just Google Trekyards every day, because there'll be something most days. That's the best way. Just join in every day on the off chance. And if you do want to join the lives, which we do on most days, then you can super chat. Super important way to support the channel, because YouTube, as you said, doesn't share us really. We don't get much ad revenue. So those super chats, those Patreon, those PayPals, that allows us to keep going. And you know how much content we do during these months. It is more than anybody, and we love it. We love it, and we get exclusive things like Mike McMahon interviews. So it's worth supporting us, because who knows what we're going to get in the future. And like I said, Patreon, the super chats, join the channel. We had a couple of great members this last week. Really makes a massive difference. And with the super chats, it's great because you're talking to us live. We, unlike other YouTubers, we read out every single super chat live then and there. You get instant feedback. It's an amazing part of the conversation, and we love it. So, and it supports us too. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time, I guess.
That's right. So until then, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Combs.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.